Hi, it's Ricky from Moshville Times here once again. This time I'm delighted to welcome Bury-based metal band Vice. And tonight we've got guitarist vocalist Tom, we've got bassist Aidan, and we've got the drummer Connor. Now, when listening to Vice, you would think that there's more than 3 band members, as they do make enough noise. In the vein of Machine Head, they've got a bit of Iron Maiden in there as well, but maybe even some practice what you preach era testament. But listen, guys, it's great to see you. So how have things been with COVID and things? Your family and friends been okay? Everything all right with your jobs and things?
Yeah, it's been for myself, it's been non-stop. We've been working all the way through it. Just cracking on, obviously been working in the healthcare industry.
Yeah.
We've had no time to slow down whatsoever, but all family and friends so far, minus obviously we've had a few that we've lost during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But, we're just keeping our heads strong, keeping together. From there, it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, I appreciate it. What about you guys, Aidan and Connor? You guys all okay?
Yeah. Just usual tricks, I was fortunate enough to be sent home on 23rd of March 2020 when all lockdown kicked in, and I worked from home since then. And then I think a couple of months ago I was back in the office. So it's literally, again, non-stop for me. Nothing's changed apart from the working environment, really. And then other than that, yeah, family, friends, all okay. Still mad as ever, but yeah, all good.
Runs in the family then, does it, Aidan? Yeah.
Yeah, it is genetic, unfortunately. Yeah. Something in the water.
Everything okay with you, Connor? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of the only guys in the band that doesn't have a job, so I've just been trying to keep myself occupied, trying to keep on top of, my mind and my physical health, mental health, and trying to keep on top of like practicing as well. It's been like a mad like roller coaster, but I think we've got through the most of it pretty much unscathed, I think. So yeah, I think it's uphill from here, hopefully.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Connor, but I think you raise a valid point there, like mental health is huge at this important time. But I'm glad to hear that everybody's okay. Best wishes to everybody. But listen, we're not here to talk about COVID and whatnot. We're here to talk about Vice. So with the lockdown, well, there you go. We're talking about COVID again. So with the lockdown and the shit year that was 2020, it's extremely pleasing to hear that you guys have been busy at it and are in the studio writing material for your second album. So what stage are you at with the recordings at the moment?
Well, at the moment, we're just churning them out. I think 25, 26, 27 sort of demos. The issue is, we started off as a four-piece, so 2 guitars, bass, drums, and then as it's progressed, obviously we've gone down to a 3-piece. So there's a lot of the dynamics change behind it.
Yeah.
And trying to translate that into an enjoyable song on recording and something we can also replicate in a live scenario is a new challenge for all of us. I've not done an album before or anything, so this is my sort of first experience with it. Yeah. And obviously the second time around for these guys, so it's all new for us. But yeah, about 25, 26 demos, something like that. And they just keep getting better. We can't stop. Every time we do something, it comes along. So we're not putting a time, a date on it or anything like that. We're just, when it's sort of ready and we're like, that's a worthy successor.
Yeah.
So the first chapter, we'll send it out.
Sure. So are you looking to, do you know how many songs you're going to have? Because you guys don't write 3-minute songs, do you? You like your 5, 6, 10-minute songs.
That's it. I mean, some of these ones are a little bit shorter, a bit more raw and straight to the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're looking sort of around 9, 10 songs, something like that. There's certain length. We want it to be over 40, 45 minutes. We don't want to sort of skimp on the content. You could have 20 songs on there, but if they're all 2 minutes long, it's a bit of a disappointment, isn't it? So
yeah.
And we're not a grindcore band.
And we're not a grind. It could be. You never know.
Well, there you go. So, but Tom, have you got something like 16, 17, 18 songs, and you're going to like bring it down to the 8, 9, 10, and maybe also release an EP in the future, or like what have you got?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're as a band, we're kind of going through which songs obviously feel the best with us, which ones we're happiest with. Obviously, kind of, you know, strike each one off that we think, oh, there's a bit more work we could do with that, because we're forever improving the ones that we've already got at the moment. You know, I mean, ones that we've wrote, you know, 3 to 6 months ago, we can play it again in the rehearsal room, and, you know, obviously one of the guys can go, what about if we did this here? Or what about that vocal melody here? Or could you do something a little bit different on there? And, you know, we could all, and we just add little bits to it each time. So it's getting them to a point where we're happy with it, and we can say, right, that is the one that's going on this position on the album, and we can be happy and move on from there then.
Yeah. Yeah. So Connor, with obviously things chopping and changing all the time, then how did you guys go about, more so when you couldn't see each other, how did you like communicate your ideas with each other? Is, say for example, is Tom the type of guy that would send you a riff at 4 o'clock in the morning?
That's absolutely what would happen. Yeah. Yeah, I think, you know, we did the best we could have done.
Yeah.
With the scenario that we were all in, you know, sending like voice notes and, you know, MP3s to each other with, you know, the stuff that we had. It's been difficult, honestly.
Yeah.
I think personally we write best and we come up with our best stuff when we're all in a room together.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, obviously scenario permitting, it was, you know, the best we could have got at the time. But I think we did come up with a lot of good stuff over this year, particularly.
Yeah.
We definitely like finessed a lot of ideas that we already had, that we took last year, and we were like, yeah, a lot of this stuff we can do better. And we did, you know, we brought it back this year, definitely, because I think we had a bit of a sort of creative slump last year, obviously.
Yeah.
The whole situation. I think it was, you know, unavoidable, really. I think we were just all creatively just down. But I think this year we've really turned it out. And, you know, a lot of the ideas have just gone above and beyond what we had last year. So, yeah, it's all onwards and upwards from here. Like, it's going to be great when this new album comes out. I'm really enjoying the new stuff that we've been doing lately.
So was a lot of the ideas, were they yours?
A lot of drum stuff. You know, I occasionally have some like melody, but I have to be like the caveman and sort of like you sort of ape it. You know, I can't really play guitar or anything like that.
It's just great to hear a drummer that actually has a say in the band's music. So that's refreshing to hear.
I mean, strangely enough, and this is going to be a rare occasion for a lead guitarist to back up a drummer here, but I mean, to give his fair due to Connor, quite recently, you know, we can be jamming away on a song or going through a verse or even, you know, hitting a chorus, and he'll stop playing completely and go, can we try it like this instead? And 9 times out of 10 these days, it's actually like, all right, yeah, he's got a point here. He's done quite well at this. Me and Aidan have to look at each other and go, okay, yeah, we'll do what the drummer says. Let's do what the caveman says.
Well, you guys have been together for a good few years, haven't you?
Yes.
As a unit. So that shows you the strength of the unit that you guys have. So I'm looking forward to hearing the new stuff, but talking about the new material then, how would you say it compares to your debut album, The First Chapter? And do you think you found the sound that you've been looking for with this new material?
I think so, personally. You know, I think the new stuff that we've got now, it's definitely heavier, it's definitely faster. I think building off of what Aidan said before, it's more direct, more streamlined, more to the point, more immediate, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've really enjoyed the stuff that we've been coming up with, because it is just so intense and in your face.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think the huge change that we've had to do is obviously from having 2 guitars at the front, obviously, you know, as a 4-piece lineup, especially for myself, with having to be able to, you know, play the riffs and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's been a huge kind of change for myself. Obviously would like to write a lot of the kind of the Thin Lizzy kind of, you know, dual guitars, or the Megadeth and the Maiden. So it's making sure that we can still fulfill the sound that we do on the record, that we can do it live as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to do anything with technology to do with it, any backing tracks or anything extra like that. We're a much more direct. We just literally plug in, we'll play, and that's the sound that we want you to hear, where you'd hear it on the record as well. So I think that's the main change we've had from the first album to this one.
Yeah.
Where we've kind of had to make the change and, some sacrifices, but at the same time, it is a lot more direct, as obviously Connor said. So I think we're very looking forward to, obviously, getting it down as an album now and actually, letting the people hear what we've been working up to.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks very much for your answers, guys. Aidan, do you see yourself staying as a three-piece now? Or is the door always ajar or open for another guitarist to come in, for example?
I think for this album, I think we've made that much progress with a three that it'd be sort of unfair to bring somebody else in at this point and go, we've done everything as a dynamic, and the dynamic is a three, and you'll hear that in the songs when the album does come out. That'll you'll hear that. So to bring somebody else into that and sort of not muddy the sound, but add another layer of complexity to something which is in its simplest form at the moment is it's going to be a challenge. But I think we're enjoying the three, but I think Tom would appreciate a bit of help. It's always nice having that extra bit of backup there and that. So maybe the door's open, maybe it's not. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe the right person will come along and surprise us, and it just works.
Yeah.
Or maybe that person never comes along and it's always a three. We're never going to say no to it if it's something which is an absolute game changer to us.
Cool.
It has to be the right person.
Yeah.
I think it's a definite thing. We've all kind of decided we work that well as a three. And a lot of people have said as a three, where, the sound it's an awful lot tighter than we've ever been as a unit before. There's just a certain chemistry between the three of us on stage. And I think it'd take a very, very, again, special person to come and join with that energy that we have as well.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. That's it. Thanks very much for that. Going back to the first chapter for a second there, you concentrated on the 7 deadly sins then. So I'm just wondering if you've taken a similar approach to this album, and is it also going to be entitled the second chapter?
No. With the second album, we've been a bit more, it's not a concept, so to speak. It's more of we're very different in the way that we write lyrics at the moment. We tend to write lyrics that can be interpreted in many different ways from different viewpoints.
Yeah.
So obviously, as you can imagine, we've all worked through, the pandemic. Different things have been affecting us all mentally. We all have our own battles when we need to, kind of overcome them. Some of the lyrics will reflect that.
Yeah.
Hopefully some people can kind of, dissect the lyrics and have a look at what they say. They might be able to take it in their own way. Whereas again, another person could look at it a complete other way. Even ourselves, when we look at some of the lyrics, we still go, well, that means that. And it's like, oh, to me, it more looks like that. And it's kind of a really interesting way that we like to write with each other.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a lot of way to make people interpret the song as they want to interpret it as well.
That's it. I mean, we do try to be inclusive as much as possible. And like, if you put a lyric in which is a bit questionable, especially with sort of everything that's happened over the past year, not just with COVID and that, there's a potential to open something up which you're not intending to do.
Yeah.
And that's a challenge now. It's to write something which includes everybody, but also doesn't annoy or offend everybody at the same time. So it's all about inclusivity as opposed to exclusivity. And
Cool, Tom. With you being the vocalist, then you mentioned we a couple of times there. Do you write the majority of the lyrics, all of the lyrics, or do you welcome contributions from the other guys as well?
Absolutely welcome contributions. I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not the best lyricist in the world. If you catch me on a good day, sometimes I can write down everything. I've not a problem. I mean, I managed to do the first album okay by myself. I don't know if it's just with how the world's been, for the past while. I've just not been able to put words to paper. But again, we generally tend to have we'll have, certain rehearsal sessions where we'll just go through the songs over and over again and get them musically correct. We'll have other days we take the MacBook down to the rehearsal room. We'll literally have a lyric session. Then if we like the lyrics and how the melody flows, we'll record it there and then.
Yeah.
As a bit of a rough demo. But yeah, I mean, absolutely, we all work together. Again, we're pretty much just a unit when it comes to writing together at the moment on this second album. So I always welcome contributions.
It's quite interesting when you say that you wrote the lyrics for the first album. I noticed on the first chapter, the song Lust. I noticed that there weren't any lyrics on that. But I noticed that was a 10-minute instrumental. So do you have a similar idea to do that again? Or was that just a one-off? Do you think we've done it before, we don't need to do it again, or do it on every album? Or are you going to have another instrumental, but it might just be 3 or 4 minutes?
I couldn't say, to be honest, yet. I mean, Lust was wrote just as an instrumental because it's very difficult to try and write down paper on what you mean with lust rather than, you know, just saying, oh, I mean, you know, you could go into a lot of weird conversations when you say stuff like that. So we kind of decided to try and let the music do the talking. I mean, it was when I first originally kind of proposed the concept to Connor, he was like, yeah, I like the sound of that. Obviously, I sent him the demo, and he, you know, we worked on it from there, and obviously built it up to this 10 minutes and 52 seconds, I think it is, something like that. Yeah. Obviously, it took quite a while to get it to a level where we were happy with, but I think it's more just if we are going to write an instrumental, we'll let it flow naturally.
Yeah.
No, we might just turn around one day, and obviously it's a bit more complicated than a lot of other songs because there's a lot of time signature changes, there's a lot of tempo changes, there's little feel changes, and again, that was a nice natural flowing thing for us to kind of work with. Yeah. So again, if the time arose that we did want to write another instrumental, then it'd have to happen naturally and be something that we were all happy with.
Yeah.
And not just forced.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't just a weird time signature nutcase thing. It has to be a flowing song naturally and progresses through stages.
Yeah. Cool. You've talked a lot about how the songs are constructed in the studio, but Connor, how do you negotiate what stays in and what goes out of a song? Because I'm imagining like blood on the walls and fisticuffs in the studio and things. No, but how would you say things are negotiated?
Well, I think going back to what we said before, like I think we just work best in the rehearsal room and like just hashing it out as like in person all together. You know what I mean? Like we'll have ideas like coming in, and then right, we'll get into the rehearsal room, we'll go through it, see if it works, see if it flows, if it feels right, you know, and that's what we take it. That's what we take it from there. You know, do you
do votes and majority wins?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you do votes and the majority wins?
We can do, yeah. Yeah. It does happen. I think it just gets to a point.
Quiet here.
You know, it has to be. You know, there has to be a democracy on like some things as well, where it's like, yeah, that could be like this way, and it'd be like, I vote this way, and it's like, you know, it does get to that stage at some points, but you know, it's all civil. You know,
sure.
It's never anything bad or anything, so it's all good like that.
Good.
We do have disagreements, but normally one of us will come around in the end. So, I mean, we had a track that we've been working on, and we couldn't decide quite how we wanted the ending to go. And obviously I'd said, well, let's try it and do it like this way and this way. And Aidan was just like, nah, I don't like it. Like, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work. And Connor's like, yeah, I'm digging it. I think it's cool. So, all right, we'll play it 3 or 4 more times. We'll go through it. And eventually Aidan kind of turned around and went, yeah, I see what you mean now. It works, doesn't it? So, you know, we all have to swallow our pride every so often. And I'll admit I'm very hard to turn around on an idea. But, you know, obviously the lads know what we're doing. So we work well together.
I think it's more like you've got to challenge somebody. Like, if you're doing something, you've got to sort of justify why you're doing that at that particular time. You don't have to do it with everything. You know, some things are just a blanket thing. But why does that sound good? Why do you like that?
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, because it's heavy. Right. No. Tell me why you like that. What's different about that? Justify it to me.
Yeah.
Because I've got this idea and in my head, mine's better. So you've got to prove to me that your idea is better for me to sign off on that.
Yeah.
And it probably is me that's the spanner in the works the majority of the time. Like, just, no, don't like it. Them two like, yep, love it. Me, no, I don't like it.
So kind of going back a wee bit as well, see with all your demo recordings, would you say any songs for the new album are complete?
Yes.
Yeah. I was leading somewhere with that. So yes, that's what I was going to say. So if you've got new songs as well, then, and you've also got the debut album, the first chapter, did you ever think of like doing a gig from maybe like your rehearsal room and just put it live on Facebook and things, or just another way of keeping your name out there? Or did you think that let's just solely concentrate on the album?
We pretty much just kind of decided with everything that was going on that the time that we had there was the perfect time to just anchor down and get involved with recording and writing the music. You know, we had to be a bit careful with rehearsals, obviously with, you know, certain scenarios regarding the pandemic, but we always wanted to make sure that we just dedicated this time that we had to writing and really getting our foot in the door to getting the album to, you know, on its way. So obviously we could have had the opportunity to do a lot of the kind of live on stream shows, but when we kind of all decided to have a talk about it, I mean, we had a talk with the management, and obviously, you know, we kind of did the yeses and the nos and how it would have worked, how we could have done this, and obviously worked from there. And in the end, we kind of all agreed that the best thing we can literally do right now is just get our heads down, you know, close the bunker door and just get on with it and get, you know, really make progress, which is what we've been doing.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to hear it. Like, hopefully you'll get something out before the end of the year. Certainly looking forward to it. And as we did with the first chapter, we'll certainly review it at Moshville Times. I'll certainly get airplay. We've just now started a radio station a couple of months ago, and that's beginning to make waves. So yes, definitely looking forward to it. So when it's ready, you know exactly where to send it now.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get it over to you. Not a problem whatsoever.
Good stuff, good stuff. Also for the first chapter, then you released a video entitled Greed for the first album. So do you already have any ideas for the new album, or is it too early to say?
We've got a few.
Yeah, there's a few ideas floating around. For me, the classic sort of like all the bands playing is a good enough music video, but that's probably, to me, without wanting to insult anybody or anything, it's just about good enough.
Yeah,
there's other things that can be done, creative elements. You know, there's a music video is there to not only like drag people in for the music, it's there to drag people in for the visual side of things as well.
Yeah,
you know, plenty of music videos when I was younger. You know, I'm a big fan of Lamb of God, so Redneck, the music video for that, you end up watching the video more than you listen to the song because of the content of the video, and then you go, it becomes that ingrained in your subconscious that it pops up when you least expect it.
Fair comment.
I think, you know, it's a marketing tool at the end of the day. That's what a music video is, and it's got to be done right.
Well, you raised a very valid point there about marketing, and like with everything that's happened in the last 18 months, best part of 2 years, has it made you like focus on the business side of the band now, like keeping the name out there, the merch, and just different ways of reminding people that Vice are still going?
I think so. Again, we've kind of done opposite to what a lot of bands did in the pandemic. A lot of them, like say, you know, they were streaming every other night. They all kind of started to use the Twitch, obviously, platform and Facebook Live. And I think we obviously we let people know we were still busy, obviously, but we just had our heads down instead. Yeah. Again, you know, rather than completely flooding the market and, you know, adding ourselves to this, you know, huge pool of everyone that's obviously doing a very similar thing. Obviously, some of the bands stood out and did that extra part. But yeah, I think we really just wanted to knuckle down and just crack on, really, just, you know, work on the music. And I'm sure the fans would much rather us, you know, get our heads down and work on the second album a lot more than, you know, a live stream of streaming the first chapter religiously, basically.
Yeah. It's obvious that you've been focusing on the new album then, but did you also have like touring commitments within the last 12 months that unfortunately had to be shelved?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God. Ricky.
Is it yourself that organises the gigs, Connor?
Oh God, no. Imagine if I tried to organise anything. Oh God.
We're playing Birmingham via Holland.
Yeah, right.
So what gigs did you have to miss, unfortunately, Connor?
Oh God, Ricky, we had like a European tour booked with Absolver, going through like April to May. It would have been like the longest time we would have been out in Europe. We would have been out for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And we were super looking forward to it, and as well. And
what countries were you going to?
France, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany. We would have gone through that main part of Europe, a couple of times, and we were super looking forward to it. We were ready for it as well, and then obviously it just didn't happen. So hopefully, if we can get that rescheduled, we would love to do that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Was it cancelled or is it simply postponed?
I'm not sure. If it is cancelled, that's obviously that sucks. But if it can be rescheduled, we'd be more than happy to do that. Absolutely.
We'll have to have some conversations with a few of our friends over in Europe and see, obviously, how we can reschedule things, because obviously everyone's in the same boat at the moment. When can we reschedule this for? And it's obviously with the way that Europe is now in Great Britain that we'll have to obviously make sure everything works and check financially how it's all going to work. But we will get back. We'll get back on the road and we'll get to it.
Yeah. Maybe not European then, but do you have anything planned apart from Badgerfest, which we'll come on to in a wee minute? But do you have anything planned more locally towards the end of this year, beginning of next?
Yeah, we've got the big Christmas show, KK Steel Mill with Blaze and it's Absolver
and Aonia.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing that one. That's a cracking venue. First time we'll have done it. But it's literally Badgerfest and that one. That's pretty much it.
Is it just
probably have some stuff in the works for next year, but
is it just a case of wait and see what happens, or especially do the album and then wait and see how things are and then look at tours? Yeah,
it's pretty much knuckle down. Knuckle down, get the album done, and then obviously book the huge tour that we can.
Yeah. Well, remember,
few weeks.
remember that there's other countries in the UK apart from England. So, but
we're keeping it back up to Scotland. Don't worry.
Well, we've actually made the wall a wee bit taller since COVID, so we probably won't let you in. No, I do recommend, if you do come up here, you've obviously got Glasgow and Edinburgh. But if you're willing to take a risk, you've got places like Dumfries as well. They've got a strong scene. The name of the venue escapes me at the moment, but they do have a strong scene. And they've also got, if you're looking for a band to play with, look up Bloodthread, brilliant band. You've also got Dundee and Perth, but you've also got Aberdeen if you're willing to go up that far, because they're screaming out for gigs because nobody comes up. So see, when a gig does come up, you'll always get a good attendance. So yes, Scott, and Glasgow and Edinburgh, we've got venues left, right, and centre, so you won't have any difficulty in finding somewhere to play.
So that's actually something quite funny. We're watching the new Grand Tour episode yesterday.
So was I.
Did you notice the venue that was in that as well?
No, I haven't seen all of it yet. Not yet.
No, they actually drive past Bannerman's.
Did it?
Yeah, I was watching. I was just like, that's Bannerman's. I know that. I could recognise the archway and obviously can see the sign down the side. I was like,
yeah.
I wish I was loading in on that day, listening to 3 big American muscle cars go down the road. I'd love that. I'd be really happy.
Yeah. Bannerman's is a brilliant venue. It's actually very, very close to Cozen. It seems to have resurfaced again, and across the road from it you've got Opium as well. So Edinburgh, and you've got Banshee Labyrinth in Edinburgh. You've got loads of venues to play, so certainly when you come up, give us a shout and I can put you in touch with a couple of people. Right, so thanks very much for that, guys. So before we go on to Badgerfest, then could you enlighten me on where you rehearse and where you record your songs?
Yeah, so you've just done
Look at the sheet. Who's to answer this question?
I think you're Connor, but I'm going to jump in on this one because I can.
Go on, you jump in. Go on.
I'll talk about the recording side, Connor. You can go for the rehearsal side. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's cool.
So we're going to be heading straight back to Red City Recordings in Manchester. It's who we did the first chapter with. It's Johnny Rocker. It's Dave Barra Jones, he's called.
Yeah.
He's an unbelievable producer. I mean, when we were going through the first chapter, obviously we'd sent them all the tracks that were ready to go. And he said, yeah, okay, let's do this. And he works so well with you. You know, he's always working with you. He sometimes can work against you to get the better, you know, kind of take from you. I know, for example, for Connor, he worked absolutely brilliant with you. You know, you had the first week in the studio doing the drums with him.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. You know, he gets a really good sound straight from the mark. He knows what he's doing. He's full of great ideas. He's got loads of different gear you can use as well. So it's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. So Connor, then, how long did it take you to do the drums for the first album? And you actually, when you're going to record the second album, do you see yourselves getting more time in the studio so it can be a wee bit more relaxed?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the first album, it took about 5 days to get all the takes down.
Yeah.
I think the second album we will probably do the same, maybe a couple more days, or maybe just do a full 7 days. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll be going back to Dave at Red City to record their second album, because he just did such an amazing job on that first one. And you know, I love working with him as well. He got so much out of me. It was a lot for me, because that was like the first kind of proper recording experience that I'd ever had. So I sort of, at first, I got quite overwhelmed by the whole sort of occasion of it all. And he sort of brought me back down and was like, look, you've got this. And, you know, he knew how to sort of get me back in centered focus mode. And yeah, he got like the best out of me for sure. So yeah, we're definitely going to go back and do the second one with him again for sure.
Cool. So Aidan, does he feel like he's a fourth member of the band then?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like yeah, like Aki said, you know, he's just got this knack for seeing different angles of the song and different parts, and be like, oh, you could try that bit here. This would work well here.
Yeah.
And you know, it's great, and like he's got such a knack for it as well. You know, I want that. I want that for me as well.
No,
I know personally as well. Obviously, it's my first time doing the actual vocal recording as a lead vocalist. So obviously, I was still a bit kind of fresh to the whole situation, thinking, you know, oh, what if it's not good enough? What if this isn't going to be the right, you know, kind of feel and everything like that? And he honestly works so well with you, and he recognizes, you know, if you're getting tired, if you think, you know, you do better, you know, you might think you've done the best take in the world. He'll go, come on, you did better on the last one. Let's do that again. But he does it in such a way that makes you go, I've got this.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes he'd actually come into the actual live room with you, you know, and he can sometimes lay down a track with you, kind of go, that's what I'll kind of want you to do, but can you try and do that a little bit different there? And before you know it, you've got the perfect take that you didn't know you had in you. And that's the kind of best thing about him being the producer that he is. He's just a phenomenal man to work with.
Yeah. So you jumped in there, both of you guys did, because I did say, so Aidan, but anyway, but that's something, Tom, you answered my question before I was going to ask it. With the vocals then, how were you after the recording? Because I'd imagine it was quite intense for you, especially with the type of vocals that you do. And was it line by line, take after take, or did you do a whole verse first, or how did it pan out?
I think it depended on which song we were doing. So if some of the songs, like things like when we were doing Gluttony, you kind of had enough breathing time between the actual lines because of the way that the song is, to obviously then, you know, get the best line and best take on each time.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other ones, when you're kind of switching between, you know, the dirty voice and the clean voice, he was like, right, we're going to do this line, miss that line, then do this line, miss these next two lines, and then finish off on these last two big lines. So it was very, very intensive. I think on the kind of the second to last day, I'd actually started to get a cold in, you know, in the wonderful kind of timing that it is that these things happen. And even when I was, you know, having a call, I mean, I was still taking the hour or so to warm up before we'd even start things. You know, I mean, when Billy, our manager, was actually driving me to the studio, you know, I'm sat there in the car going, doing all these vocal warm-ups. And, you know, it was always really kind of understanding, you know, if a vocal take wasn't working that day or that morning or afternoon, he'd say, right, that's it for today. We'll do that again tomorrow. Let's work on something else. You know, we'll do a bit of mixing or we'll do this. And I think after it, because of the way that he nursed the situation,
Yeah.
it just felt like a normal day. You know, speaking voice was normal. My vocal cords felt fine. I didn't feel like I'd strained or stretched. So he just, again, he knows how to work with you. And I mean, any artist that needs someone that can work with them, I'd definitely recommend Red City Recordings every single day.
It definitely shows you how much engrossed he was in it, as well as a project, like telling you to do this line, miss out that line, and all the rest of it. So it shows you how much time and effort that he's put in it. But I'm pretty sure that you've called him a few different names as well at the time of the recording.
Yeah.
For all the pushing. But Aidan, you being the bassist, I take it your bass lines were recorded in like half an hour then?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't on the first album.
No, neither you were. Sorry about that.
Yes, we've thrown the curveball back.
Damn it.
I mean, sort of my experience at the moment is the demos. So, you know, I'll sit at home, I'll record some stuff. I'll go around to Tom's, we'll record some stuff on there. And then whenever we're doing like the backing vocals and that, it's just in a studio where we just set up the MacBook and we just run through a couple of lines, get some working demos going. But yeah, my experience of that so far is that it's going to be interesting for me. I've not done vocals ever. I just kind of got roped into it. I think it was one gig we did back when I started, like my fourth gig. They went, "Oh, by the way, can you do backing vocals? These are the things." And I was like, "But I've never had a microphone in front of my face." So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be different.
Well, can I say, one of the things that I like about a band, especially live, is more than one vocalist, because I think it adds so much diversity to the song. So it pleases me to hear that. So are you bringing like Vince Neil influences, for example? Motley Crue?
I'm much more shouty, growly sort of stuff.
Good.
But it complements Tom quite well, because Tom's singing voice is like still quite gritty in that sense. It's a bit Hetfield and Mustaine sort of thing, and the growls can really add sort of like that lower level to it. I can literally add bass to the vocals if you want to look at it like that. Lower end of the spectrum in all of it, and it really fills out. I've seen a couple of recordings from when we did Hard Rock Hell in Birmingham back in 2020. And you're listening to the sound of that, and it's like they actually make me sound good, which is impressive. But no, it really pads the sound out, and I think it's a new direction, because the first chapter had nothing like that on it. So
the guys, your bandmates told me that you mimed that it was all backing tapes.
You don't actually need to say anything. It's just Cookie Monster noises, isn't it? You just go like.
But that's it. I mean, so far you've told me that it's faster, it's heavier, and there might be a wee bit of growling in there as well. I'm pretty much a death metal fan as well, but I always give everything a chance. I don't let it go. I mean, we all grew up in Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and stuff, right, guys? So yeah, I'm always open. I am an open book, but I do like my death metal. Like I do my own show on a Thursday night as well, but it's usually extreme end of the market that I play. So the things that I'm hearing just now is extremely pleasing to these ears. But I kind
of like a bit of like the glam kind of stuff. I know me and Connor, we're big into the kind of like the old school kind of stuff like that, the really old. So I mean, Nitro and Winter Rose and stuff like that. We both absolutely love it. But when it comes to our own music, we're kind of always like, right, it's foot to the floor, heavy metal, straight in your face. This is the car crash you've been waiting for, really. Well, not the car. You know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Well, what I'm looking forward to seeing in a couple of months at Badgerfest then is hearing the new songs and seeing the dual vocals and see how it all works. So you're obviously playing Badgerfest in October, so you're obviously looking forward to it. But is there any other bands in the build that you're looking forward to especially seeing?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I'm going to ask all of you, by the way, so don't think you're getting away from it. I'm going to ask all of you.
Well, I knew exactly what Aki was going to say. Scare Tactics are playing on the same day as us, and they've been, good friends of the band since 2015. I remember we did our first headline show in Manchester. They supported us, and they just blew us away, and they've continued to blow us away. Like after every show, it's just like, oh, that Scare Tactics album Legion is absolutely amazing. Yeah, like it's so good. So yeah, they're good friends of ours. We're definitely gonna check those guys out.
I interviewed them a few months ago, and again, I've listened to the music as well. I liked it as well. So there'll definitely be a band, if I'm not interviewing, that will be coming through and seeing. Hopefully, when you guys are playing, I'll be interviewing. No. Only kidding, only kidding. So is there anybody else, Connor, that you're looking forward to see, or is it especially Scare Tactics?
For me personally, I'm just looking through now. There's Ramage Inc. playing as well. Like we've seen them at Bloodstock playing on the Sophie stage. Like they've just got these epic, like soaring choruses, just catchy as all hell.
Do you know
Scotland's finest as well.
I'm interviewing all the bands for Badgerfest, and the amount of bands that keep on saying Ramage Inc.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very much.
I mean, it just goes to show.
It's a Lostock Festival. Is it the one in Norwich?
Yeah.
Is it? Sorry. Well, we've done both, haven't we? Is it Rockwich and no? It's just Lostock Festival. Sorry, we played alongside them, like a little kind of civic hall almost, like rugby club, I think it is, or cricket club, one of the two. And just the sound that them guys can make it. I mean, it's just a wall of sound. I mean, you can tell like the Devon influences and stuff like that, and it's just they're phenomenal. And the best thing is, well, they're really nice bunch of lads as well to talk to.
They are. They're actually going to have a takeover show. In fact, if you guys want to do it as well, they're going to do a takeover show on the radio, hopefully before Bloodstock, and they're going to play bands that they are looking forward to seeing. So, but yeah, Ramage Inc. has talked a lot. So, what about yourself, Tom?
I'd have to look at the lineup again because my memory is absolutely awful. So while I double check the lineup, Aidan, it's your turn.
Yes, the one for me really is Tortured Demon. Young lads,
a lot of noise.
They do, yeah. So I remember seeing obviously the 0161 go around, and during lockdown I'd seen a clip of when they were allowed to do outside gigs again and bits like that, and Tortured Demon were on, and was looking and I was like, bloody hell, these 16-year-old kids.
I think that's the oldest.
Yeah, and making a hell of a lot of noise. I just wasn't expecting it. It really took me by surprise. So it's sort of a bit of a semblance of us as well. 3-piece. It's that classic. The raw sort of sound. What you see is what you get. Yeah. Just really looking forward to actually catching them live.
I mean, I think they were like 13, 14, 15 or something like that. They're signed over in Paris. They've got a record label over in Asia. It's incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'd only just started to learn to play drums at 16, and they're killing it already. It's incredible to see that that young band like that are killing it already. It's incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I hope you're ready, Tom.
I am. I'm ready now. I think obviously after Scare Tactics, I mean the main two that I'm really after seeing. So Ashen Crown.
Yes. So great bunch of lads.
Them lads know how to make some noise, and they're the full-on groove, just incredible. But another one that's I'm really quite excited for is Fetal Juice.
Yes.
We actually many years ago we had a rehearsal room actually next door to Fetal Juice, so we got really good friends with them. We knew Rob, the drummer, Ryan, the guitarist, and there was Ben and Sam, the brothers, that were the bassist and the vocalist. So one day you could go into the rehearsal room with them guys, and we'd be sat in our little control room that we had, and obviously the blast beating away, and it's the full-on death metal. And before you know it, they're playing like some kind of jazz. Then after that, they've got really bluesy, and you just think, is this the same band? And then before you know it, they do a little break and then back to full on. So But again, we spent a hell of a lot of time with. I mean, obviously the lineup's changed a lot now, but we spent a lot of time with Rob and Ryan. I mean, Rob borrowed one of my old amplifiers to go on tour with for God knows how long he was away for, but never any issues. He looked after everything. So we've always loved them guys, and Rob has one of the best laughs in the world. So
good stuff. The Badgerfest is grown in reputation. I think this is its 5th year, but I think it's the 4th festival. But so how did you come across John Badger? Like, how did you manage to get onto the bill? Did he see you at a gig and just had to get you on, or did you apply for it? Do you remember?
Well, I think I was the first to know of him. I think this was back in 2013, I think. He was in a cover band called Raw Power, and they used to do all of these classic like rock and metal covers.
Yeah.
You know, obviously being a drummer, like we just got on like so well, and we just kept in touch since then. And you know, I've sort of known him through like the My Wooden Pillow days, and I think, you know, we all got to know him when he was in Impavidus, and you know, in Forge in the Furnace of the Sun as well. I had his stint in Frozen in Shadows as well. It's like the guy can do anything, you know. He can just like adapt to any kind of like musical situation, you know. So
I think you'll know where to find John at Badgerfest. He'll be the guy behind the drum kit.
Yeah.
The amount of bands that he's in.
If a drummer can't play, and you know, absolutely he'll step in and just kill it.
Yeah.
He can just do it, man. Like he's a force of nature, man. He's like a modern day Gladiator. It's insane.
Yeah. I think he's just started another band up. They just released a single the other day there. He's a machine, that man, an absolute machine.
Awesome.
That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. Cool. Listen, guys, before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet has been a good thing for music and a good thing for Vice?
Passion's been lost, ultimately. You know, 10, 15 years ago, it was, you know, if you were on the front cover of Kerrang magazine or anything like that, that was like,
yeah,
you couldn't get any better than that, really.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's still got, you know, a massive appeal to it. And, you know, we would never say no to ever being on the front cover of any magazine like that. But it's not got the same impact anymore, where people look at that and they go, oh, I'm going to go look at these. But the only way you could go and look at them when they were on the cover was to buy a ticket and go watch them, or it was to buy the album. Now you just got, oh, I'll go on Spotify. Well, that's crap. And then it's, you know, it's done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think the passion of the fans has been lost. I just think maybe the sort of the feel behind it and what it, you know, what kind of position it sort of elevates bands to, I think has been lost. Certainly, yeah.
Cool. Thanks very much for that, Aidan. I am going to ask the other two of you for your opinions as well, and then I'll give you mine, which will be right. So, Connor, what's your opinion then?
I think it's kind of sort of lost most of its sort of original charm. You know, I mean, now music is so like readily available to people. Like it's on Spotify, it's free a lot of the time, it's on YouTube, whereas in the olden days, like the only place you could really hear new bands is if you'd go down to a record store and buy stuff and take a chance on a new album, a new band, based on purely like the album cover or like what you'd heard from other people. I mean, it still happens now, but it's definitely not as much as it used to, you know. So that's unfortunately what it is. But you know, I think there's still passion there. It's just the way that people consume music has just changed ultimately.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks, Connor. I agree with a lot of points that you've raised there as well. Same as yourself, Aidan. What about you, Tom?
I'm a bit in the middle, because I mean, I still remember the days of, you know, waking up knowing that a new album was coming out, and I'd have to walk into Bury Town Centre and go on Nick to Vibes, I think it was called, and obviously, you know, pick up the actual physical CD, and that's if they had it on the launch day that they had it, because it was a smaller independent store. But I think having the access to be able to, you know, you can literally pick up your phone now, go on to iTunes or anything like that, and you can still obviously buy the album online, which for us has helped us out personally, like, you know, in the sense of Vice, because we've got fans that are in the USA, you know, that are on the continent, in Europe, obviously some even like, you know, going further over to Asia and things like that. And obviously if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't even be able to imagine getting that over there without having to take a huge gamble on sending a big box of CDs to the other side of the world. without, you know, really knowing what's going on. You know, it's someone that you've never met, you've never spoke to, and here you are sending some of your pride and joy that you've worked so hard to, you know, obviously pay and fund, and, you know, you put your heart and soul into it. But again, I guess, you know, if a new album comes out for me, obviously I'm horrendous at losing things at the moment. So obviously I'll download an album to my phone straight away, and therefore I've got it. So I'm really in the middle with it. You know, it is a great thing, but at the same time, it's also, you know, it is a killer because you do like physical CD sales.
It's quite interesting when you said way back at the beginning, well, all of you said way back at the beginning of the interview, you've got like 26, 27 demo recordings. I'm like, that's how you got your name out there way back in the day. You would release your demos. And people like myself would pay £2-3 to listen to it, send it away. A couple of days later, you would get the demos back. But you would write a letter to me. You know, you would open up the letter, there would the envelope, there would be a letter, there would be the demo tape, you might get stickers or something like that as well. You listen to it and you're like, don't know if I like it, but because I've invested in the demo, you would give it a chance again and again, and then make up your mind. Whereas now you guys are saying, you go into Spotify, 10 seconds, no, that riff is shit, don't like it. Dismiss the band and move on to the next one, because like you say, the market out there is oversaturated, so you have to do something unique to stand out, and it's so hard to do nowadays. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? It's a double-edged sword, but I've talked about it over a pint, I don't know how many times now. And you can, there's never a good answer to it. But listen, guys, we've got 10 minutes left, so I think that's enough time for us to talk about the instruments that you play. So Tom, since you're the guitarist, then go for it. What's your instrument of choice?
So I've got behind me 2 Gibson SGs. They're both black. We're playing drop B and C sharp with Ice. Amplifier wise, I'm currently using a Kemper Profiler. So basically, I used to use an Engel Powerball 2, but I profiled that before I started using the Kemper Live. So I've got all my sounds on there. I can switch between different amps for different sounds. So it's like a clean for the Fender. It's for the slightly distorted one, it's another Fender amp. My rhythm sound is still my Engel Powerball, and my lead sound is a Mesa Boogie. Wonderful piece of kit. It's as simple as that.
So Connor, is he quite geeky? Is he like got 20 pedals and stuff like that on stage?
he's like a wizard. You know, I don't know how he does it. Like he just turns some things, presses some buttons, and he's got like amazing sound. I'm just like, how did you do that? That's crazy.
Oh, my toaster box make noise.
It's like, oh, wow.
So is it a 6 or a 7 string you've got?
6.
6, yeah. No,
yeah.
The way it should be played.
I mean, ever since I turned into the front man as well, I need a piece of kit that I can press one button and it changes all the sounds for me.
Yeah.
I did my research and I spoke to Aidan multiple times about it because he's the biggest gear geek I've ever met. And after that, I just went, I'm just going to go and buy a Kemper. And I bought one, bought the foot switch with it, and that was it. Off I went then. Nice and easy.
Nah, good stuff. Thanks very much for that, Tom. But also, you've been the vocalist then. Have you went through a range of microphones until you've got the one that you like, or you just give me a microphone and I'm singing it?
That's it. As long as it's something like, you know, a decent Shure 58, or if it's even an AKG, or however. I mean, sound engineers have their own microphones that they prefer to use that we've found personally. I mean, if it's a 58, for me, it's great. Sometimes they go, oh, I've got this fancy microphone. It's like, okay, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
For rehearsals, I mean, we've got 2 SM58s that we plug into our PA system, and they sound fine.
Yeah.
And we've dropped them, we've hurled them close to each other, and they've always survived.
Good stuff. Thanks very much for that, Tom. So, Aidan, what have you got for us then? What's your bass of choice?
So I use Dingwalls. I've got a Dingwall Combustion and a Dingwall NG2, both 5 strings. So again, I use the extra B string and tune it like a guitar as opposed to tuning it like a bass. So it's a bit weird. It's basically like I have a higher string as opposed to a lower string, which works out great for sort of padding the sound out a bit.
Don't try and get all technical on me. You're just showing off with the extra 5th string. You're just trying to show off.
Simplicity. And then for an amplifier, it's basically just a stage sound. So I've got a Mark bass, little Mark III, with matching cab, and then pedals. Obvious bassist weapon of choice for today is Dark Glass. So a Shure wireless system into a, what's it now? Super Symmetry compressor into a B7K, whatever it is. The one with the thing where it makes noises when you stand on it and it makes it all fuzzy and stuff.
I'm just going to pretend I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
And that's the best way to deal with the bassist.
Good stuff. Good stuff. But listen, guys, it's been an absolute Oh, Connor, sorry, I forgot about the drummer there.
Been here for a while.
No, I did that on purpose. I'm only kidding on. So Connor, what's your drums then? What do you use?
Well, for cymbals, mostly Zildjian, but I've got a couple of Stags in there as well. They always sound great for like the chinas and stuff. Zildjians are great, using like A series crash cymbals on there. Fantastic. Mapex satin shells with like Remo heads all over, like clear Remo heads. Sledgehammer snare as well from Mapex as well. Drumsticks, I use actual sledgehammers as well. But I use LA Specials 5Bs for the sticks, and cool. I've got Trick Pro V pedals as the bass pedals as well, and just incredible for what I've done, what I do now. I couldn't be happier.
Cool. So your snare sound then, is it going to be similar to the first chapter, or have you changed the sound? You wished you'd had a different sound than you did in your debut album. Have you looked at that?
Yeah, I want to go down the Saint Anger route and use a trash can for the snare drum. I'm kidding. No, it'll be similar. It'll be similar to the first chapter.
Yeah.
Beefed up properly.
Yeah. So also your drumsticks of choice, like, did you go through a huge variety before you settled on these sticks and they last for a long time, the way that you hit them and stuff?
Yeah, like I've always have like a load of spares at the side of like my rehearsal kit and everything, and by the end of it, like a few sessions, there's always just like a load of shavings just like everywhere, like broken sticks in the walls, like some are impaled in my head.
Like, because you're throwing them at all the other band members.
Yeah, properly.
You'd be surprised at how often it's at least every 1 in 2 sessions that I have to dodge a drumstick. And it's not even like a full drumstick, it's one that's actually snapped in half and there's like an actual sharp point to it. There's not even any joking about them being in the wall. Sometimes there have been drumsticks in the wall behind my head. So I'd like to say he's joking with that, but he's absolutely not. I'm generally scared for my life sometimes.
I don't know how you guys have stayed together as a band, to be honest with you. And I've only known you for like 45 minutes. But listen, guys, we've only got a couple of minutes left then. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. So where shall we find Vice on social media then?
Everywhere, it's pretty much at Vice Metal UK. So Instagram is at Vice Metal UK. Facebook is facebook.com/Vice Metal UK. There is a website on the way. We're very close to finalising that. We've just got to do a few of the finer touch-up details. But again, that will be all Vice Metal UK. And that's pretty much any way to find us. We're all on the Instagram and our personal one. So I'm Aki Vice. I think it's Connor Summers Vice. And then for some reason, they've got Vice Bass, as you do, in the bassist corner. But obviously, give us a shout. Check us out. If you enjoy us, please come and listen. If you don't, please check us out anyway.
And also the first chapter is on Spotify as well. If you want to check it out on Spotify, it's if you type in Vice the first chapter, it'll come up straight away.
Good. Excellent. Listen, guys, I'm very much looking forward to hearing your new stuff. I don't know whether you're going to release a single or 2 first before the album. We'll see how it all pans out, but I'm certainly looking forward to hearing it, and you know exactly where to send it. And I'll see you at Badgerfest, if not before, because as I said, we're not letting you in up here. So thanks very much, guys, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Ricky.
Cheers, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you.